As Talleoss, the silver dragon, ascended into the boundless skies with the heart of Twilight's power coursing through him, a palpable surge of energy rippled around him, interwoven with the essence of the ancient relic itself. It did not erupt in chaos, nor did it lash out in uncontrolled force. Instead, it spread with purpose, measured and absolute, as though the very air recognized the presence of something long awaited. The winds shifted. Clouds that had churned moments before began to part, drawn into alignment with his ascent. Light and shadow no longer warred, blindly they steadied, bending toward balance. The sky did not resist him. It answered. Talleoss's vast wings cut through the heavens with quiet authority, each beat carrying the weight of something far greater than strength alone. This was not dominance. It was restoration. Below, the battlefield trembled not from fear, but from recognition. The surge that flowed through Talleoss extended outward, touching the very fabric of existence. And in doing so, it reached Vuarus. And the world began to reject him. Talleoss's voice carried not loud, not forceful, but undeniable.
This ends now.
This surge had a profound effect on Varus's godly form. The very fabric of existence rejected his twisted power. Within Vuarus, a transformation unfolded, a spectacle that defied the laws he had once believed himself to command. His essence wavered and flickered, no longer stable, no longer absolute. The presence he had wielded as divine began to fracture under a force he could neither grasp nor resist. Power slipped from him, not stolen, not struck down, rejected. A guttural cry of denial tore from his throat as his form began to unravel. The shadows that had once danced in obedient silence now writhed with violent independence, twisting and spiraling like living entities seeking release from a master they no longer acknowledged. They did not obey. They fled. The shroud of his divine might split apart in jagged strands, peeling away to reveal what lay beneath, not a god, but something fractured, something corrupted.
No, no.
His voice cracked, no longer carrying the weight of dominion, but desperation.
I am beyond this. I am eternal. I am...
The words broke. He fought against the unraveling, forcing power back into himself, clawing at the fragments of shadow, as though he could bind them once more. But the forces he had twisted and perverted no longer answered his will. They lashed outward, tearing free, unbound and merciless. His form contorted, stretching, collapsing, reforming in grotesque distortion. Bone shifted. Wings tore outward in violent expansion. Dark scales erupted across his body, spreading like a stain that consumed what remained of his former shape. The transformation was not graceful nor controlled, it was forced, driven by instability rather than design. A scream ripped through the sky, raw, broken, unrestrained. And then it stopped. Where once stood a self-proclaimed god, now remained a dragon. Massive, black, unstable. His wings unfurled with a violent snap, sending ripples through the air as he hovered, adjusting to a form that did not fully obey him. Shadows still clung to him, but no longer as servants. Now they flickered and lashed unpredictably, remnants of a power that had abandoned its master. His eyes burned with fury, and something deeper, disbelief.
This is not possible.
The words came low, strained, as though even his voice resisted what he had become. Above him, Talleoss remained, unmoved, watching. In the heavens above, a fierce spectacle unfolded as Talleoss, the magnificent silver dragon, locked eyes with the transformed Vuarus, now a grotesque and mighty black dragon. For a fleeting moment, the world seemed to hold its breath, as though even the skies understood the magnitude of what was about to unfold. Then, they moved. The air cracked with raw energy, as Talleoss and Vuarus collided, their massive forms striking with a force that shattered the stillness of the heavens. The impact rang outward like thunder, a violent shockwave tearing through the clouds and sending spirals of wind cascading in every direction. Claw met claw, fang met scale. Vuarus struck with fury, his movements driven by rage and instability. His jaws snapped forward, releasing a torrent of searing flame that roared through the sky in a blazing arc.
You dare challenge a god!
His voice thundered, though it no longer carried the certainty it once had. Talleoss did not retreat. A breath of frost erupted from him, brilliant and unyielding, meeting the oncoming fire in a violent collision of opposing forces. Steam exploded outward in thick, swirling clouds, shrouding them both in a churning veil of heat and ice.
You were never one.
The words cut through the chaos calm absolute. They tore apart from the clash, wings beating powerfully as they carved through the storm they had created. Vuarus lunged again, faster now, his tail whipping through the air with crushing force. It struck against Talleoss's flank with a resounding impact, sending the silver dragon spiraling downward before he steadied himself mid-descent. The skies roared around them. Each movement stirred the winds into violent currents, pulling debris upward into the chaos. Clouds fractured beneath their passage, torn apart by the sum force of their battle. Talleoss rose again, unshaken. His wings spread wide, catching the shifting currents with precision as he ascended to meet Vuarus once more. There was no hesitation in him, no anger, no desperation. Only purpose. And as they circled, preparing to collide again, the storm around them intensified, drawn into the orbit of two forces that would not yield. The battle did not break. It intensified. The silver and black dragons tore through the heavens in a relentless exchange of power, their movements no longer measured in single strikes, but in a continuous storm of force and resistance. Each pass brought claws raking across scales, each turn of their massive bodies sending violent currents spiraling through the sky. They were evenly matched. For now. Talleoss's frosty breath surged once more, a sweeping torrent of shimmering cold that cut across the sky with precision. It struck Vuarus head-on, forcing him back as ice formed along the edges of his dark scales. Vuarus roared, the sound jagged and furious, as flames erupted from his jaws in answer. The fire burned hotter now, wild, uncontrolled, colliding with the frost in a violent explosion that sent plumes of steam cascading outward in blinding waves. The heavens vanished within it. For a heartbeat neither dragon could be seen, only felt. Then they emerged again, bursting through the swirling veil, their forms cutting through the chaos with unrelenting force. Claws collided, tails lashed. Their bodies twisted and turned in a deadly aerial dance, each seeking an opening, each testing the limits of the other.
Why do you resist me?
Vuarus's voice lashed through the storm, strained beneath growing frustration.
This world bends to power. Always has.
Talleoss did not answer immediately. He circled, his movement steady, controlled, his wings adjusting to the shifting currents with effortless precision. Even amidst the chaos, there was a rhythm to him, an alignment with something deeper than the battle itself. Then,
Because it was never yours to claim.
the words were not shouted. They did not need to be. Vuarus surged forward with a snarl, fury overtaking what remained of his control. Shadows flared around him, but they no longer obeyed cleanly. Now they lashed outward, unpredictably, fragments of power slipping from his grasp even as he tried to wield them. His strikes grew heavier, more desperate. Each blow carried force but less precision. Below, the land trembled beneath their passage. The very essence of Vacari seemed to quiver under the strain, as though the world itself felt the imbalance tearing through the skies above. Talleoss remained unshaken. Each movement was deliberate, Each strike measured, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, the balance began to shift. The battle raged on, but something had changed. At first, it was subtle, buried beneath the chaos of clashing power and spiraling winds, but as the storm turned around them, the difference became undeniable. Talleoss was no longer reacting. He was guiding the battle. The heart of twilight pulsed within him, its rhythm steady and absolute, no longer surging in bursts but flowing in perfect harmony with his movements. The winds aligned with him, the currents bent to his will. Even the chaos seemed to hesitate in his presence. Vuarus felt it. His attacks came harder, now faster, heavier, but they lacked precision. Flames erupted in wild arcs, shadows lashing outward without direction, striking the air as often as they struck their target. He was fighting harder, but not better.
No!
Vuarus roared, his voice cracking beneath the strain.
I will not be undone by this. By you.
He surged forward, claws outstretched, driving toward Talleoss with reckless force. The impact of their collision sent another shockwave tearing through the sky, but this time Talleoss did not yield. He held. For the first time he held. Their forms locked in mid-air, claws pressed against scales, wings beating against opposing force. The air between them trembled under the strain, as though the world itself waited to see which would break.
You cannot defy me.
Vuarus snarled, his voice fraying.
I am power. I am dominion.
Talleoss met his gaze. Calm, unshaken.
No.
He answered, his voice steady, carrying through the storm with quiet certainty.
You are imbalanced.
The words struck deeper than any blow. Vuarus faltered, just for a moment. But it was enough. The shadows around him flickered violently, breaking apart in jagged strands as his control slipped further. His wings stuttered mid-beat, his form losing the cohesion it had struggled to maintain since his transformation. Talleoss moved, not with haste, with certainty. He twisted free from the clash, rising above Vuarus in a single fluid motion. The winds followed him, lifting, aligning, carrying him higher as the light around his form intensified, not blinding but undeniable. Below him, Vuarus struggled. For the first time, he was not in control. The shift was no longer subtle. It was undeniable. High above the trembling world, Talleoss rose once more, his massive wings cutting cleanly through the chaos, as the storm itself seemed to part around him. The heart of twilight pulsed within him, steady and unwavering, its power no longer surging wildly, but settling into perfect harmony with his will. The skies answered him. Vuarus felt it. For the first time since his transformation, hesitation crept into his movement. His wings faltered for a fraction of a breath, his control slipping further as the shadows clinging to him flickered and recoiled.
No.
The word came low, strained.
I will not fall.
He surged forward with everything he had left, flame erupting, shadows lashing outward in chaotic bursts, his massive form driving toward Talleoss in a final, desperate assault. But desperation was not enough. Talleoss did not retreat. He ascended, drawing Vuarus upward with him, higher into the thinning air where the winds howled, and the world below seemed distant and small. For a brief moment, they hovered there, two forces suspended between sky and fate. Then, Talleoss turned.
You already have.
The words were quiet, final. And with a sudden, devastating surge of strength, he drove forward, his full weight, his full power, the force of balance itself crashing into Vuarus in a single, unstoppable strike. The sky shattered around them. Varus's roar tore through the heavens as his body was driven downward, his wings thrashing wildly as he fought against the fall. Fire burst from him in uncontrolled waves, shadows ripping free in fragments as his form spiraled toward the ground below. He could not stop it. The descent was violent, unyielding, a streak of black cast from the heavens. And then, impact. The earth trembled as Vuarus struck, the force of it sending fractures through the stronghold of the abyssal dominion. Stone shattered. Towers collapsed. The very foundation of the fortress gave way as though the land itself rejected what had fallen upon it. Dust and ruin surged upward in a massive plume. For a moment, there was silence. Then Talleoss descended. Slow, controlled, certain. He landed amidst the shattered remains, his silver form rising above the broken battlefield as fragments of stone slid from his wings. Before him lay the fallen dragon, the being that had once called himself a god. Now, he was neither. Vuarus's body twitched, his dark scales cracked and fading, their once malevolent gleam reduced to dull fragments. Shadows leaked from the fractures in his form like smoke dissipating into nothingness.
This is not.
His voice faltered, unraveling with him. Far above the shattered battlefield, Keisha remained upon Kimra silent, watching. Her strength had not yet fully returned, her body still bearing the weight of what she had endured, but her gaze never wavered. For months she had lived beneath his shadow, endured his voice, his presence pressing against her very spirit. And now, it was gone. Her breath caught, fragile and unsteady as the truth of it settled within her.
Thank you.
The words barely formed, no more than a whisper carried on a fading breath spoken not in triumph but in quiet release. Not meant to be heard. Only felt. Talleoss stepped forward, his presence steady, unshaken.
It was never yours to command.
The wind stirred once more, gentler now. The storm had ended. And across Vacari the echo of that fall would not be forgotten.